rise one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio.
And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Shout out D on the track, Paint Music Media. Shout out DJ Lee Productions, and I'm Al Ken. But if you a game changer, got my head, my grind on high, win, lose, or drought. I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 I'm full court press. I pledge allegiance to the best. Ain't nothing left to give it that reverence that the Father gets. So every day I work the sweat, can get a flesh, another rest. They say go hard or go home. I say just do whatever's best. It's evident I'm blessed and I work like it. Fight like a Viking. Fight like a lichen. The difference is I like it, so I shine like I'm lightning. So I'm going head to head with certain depth. Who you liking? Yeah. So it's time for coach to put me in. I'm strapping on my shoulder pads, lacing up my cleats, and then I'm gone with the wind. Like I'm gone in 60 seconds. You can't hold me, you can't check me. Check the memo, check the message running through. Like I'm bad as I'm trucking whoever's standing in my way. Ain't no way you gon' stop me. You better off to let me in. Cause I go hard, even though they say no way that I could win. Like I'm Brett Ford, I'ma ride this way. My head to the sky, my grind on high. Win, lose, or drought, I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 Yeah, I told you once before, my God came to change the game. Different outlook on to life, a different way to play the lane. Now my rushing yours is skyrocketing. Now I'm so insane. For the kingdom building, now my shot it cannot be contained. So I'm gon' pray for change for myself and then what I can. I don't need no euros or no pesos or no money grams. Shout out to Wado, cause I know that he gon' play this fam. The FCA sports camp, game changer, summer jam. I don't need 100 grand to tell them that they need the lamb. It's heaven, ain't just who I am. Al Kim, this where I stand. Man, I'm gon' play the fist. It's so deep to turn and quit. It's like I'm out from the trap to turn around, get back in it. Never that's so insane. It's evident your butt they chain. Like I'm Jack Johnson, the same year he changed his name. So I sacrifice my life for the cause just to win. And if you a game changer, let me see my head represent. My grind on high. Win, lose, or drought, I'ma ride till I die. I go hard in that lane. My God is the aim. Put me in, coach, and watch me change the game. Cause I'm a game changer. 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 Now put me in, coach. 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 I'ma go hard.
I'ma go hard. I'ma go hard. I'ma go hard.
Cause I'm a game changer. 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 I'm a game changer.
Oh, hey, good evening. Welcome back to Relentless Pursuit with Minister Sedric. Oh, how many game changers we got tuning in tonight. It's my open prayer that because of this pandemic that we're having, that God has shown up in many of our lives. Yes, it's been a beautiful time for me. This has been a time of rest and recuperation for me. And I'm hoping and praying that everybody, even though we are distressed in our way of life, even though we are stressed by the things that the enemy is trying to do to our minds, I'm hopeful and I'm prayerful that we are tuning into God and allowing God to speak to our minds and allowing our minds to control everything that we do. And let's do everything in a godly way. So that's my prayer for everybody. So this evening, as we proceed, I was sitting here all day today, and I just been thinking. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on in my head. I got praise report, I got all these great things going on. And I tell you what, God has been so awesome. You know, with this accident, it's uncovered a number of health issues, which I think these health issues only derived from the accident. You know, my body's kind of just going through some changes because of the shock. But one of my doctor's appointments was with a cancer specialist, right? It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I have just a little background. Along about 2000, I guess it was 2008, I had a car accident. They found some little masses on my throat and my thyroid, and I had to go to the doctor I went every 6 months on each. So I had a throat specialist, and then I had another specialist for my thyroid. So every 6 months, I had to go to see these doctors. It cost me about $60 to go see them. I did it for about 3 years, and I got kind of tired of going. I was like, man, ain't nothing happening. I quit going. Well, fast forward here to 2020, right? And so I have an appointment with this cancer specialist, and I'm going to get to the point here because I know how we are. We're relentless. We want to get stuff done, but I need y'all to pursue this with me. I need you to feel this. I go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, great to see you. Everything's good, blah, 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 blah. He goes through everything. Then he says, you know, I got good news and bad news. I said, uh-oh. He says, the good news is I'm really glad to see you. And I looked over your charts, and we looked over your outcomes from all of your tests. And he said, the bad news is you're never going to see me again. He said, you don't have cancer, right? I was so excited. Yay! You know, I went crazy for about 3 seconds inside because I'm karate man. I only feel that stuff on the inside. People don't get to experience it with me, right? But I was so excited. And then the question popped in my head. Question popped in my head, and it said, check this out. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this doctor. He's a really friendly doctor, and he just told me this, and I'm excited. Wow, no cancer. He said, I'm good to go solo, and he says, you know, I'm going to pray for you, and prayerfully you never have to come back to see me. He said, I hate to say that, but then again, I like it, right? And I started laughing, but I started thinking, who did you trust in? Where was your trust? Was your trust in this doctor, or was your trust in yourself? Was your trust in your ability to eat good and exercise and focus on the positive things, or was your trust in the Almighty God? And when I thought about that, when I was thinking about today, I thought about that, and I said, oh, my God. So I went to Genesis. Check this out, Genesis 21:1. And it simply says, very simple scripture. It says, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. Check this out. Has any of y'all ever responded to somebody? You had somebody to tell you this. Here's the thing. Somebody says to you, you got this big thing going on. You say, wait a minute, just trust me. Just trust me. And you look at that person and you thinking, are you crazy? Ain't nobody, man, why am I going to trust you in this particular matter? Has anybody ever had that happen, right? Anybody remember that? Well, I tell you what, there's this thing about trust. When we trust in God, you know what? I understand that trust is not an easy thing, right? Because sometimes when you trust somebody, it means you got to let go of everything that you believe, right? You got to let go of everything that feels rational. And then you've got to check this out. You've got to put somebody else in control. You see, when you trust somebody, it means that, here it is. You've got to be comfortable with allowing things to happen in your life. Check this. And have no control over them. You got to be okay with the fact that you've got to hope that this person that you're trusting in is actually going to come through for you. How many of us don't realize it, but we do this every day. You don't believe me? You get in your car and you fly down the freeway, you tailgate the car in front of you on the highway, and then when you hit the brakes, you trust that brake is going to work. You see, we practice giving control up all the time. We just don't understand when it comes to God, we got to be just as reckless with our trust. Oh, man. See, I was writing a sermon. It was called Reckless Trust, but we're not going to get into that. But we have to, when it comes to God, when it comes to the things of God, we have to have that reckless trust. Why? Because we're just like Sarah. We find ourselves in situations where God has made a promise, right? And God promised to take care of us, but we keep looking at the situation, right? We look at the situation so long that we almost doubt that God is able. You know what I'm saying? Think about Sarah. You know, when we hear that the good news is coming, and then we find ourselves sarcastically laughing at God. I know what Sarah did. If you go to Genesis 18:12-14, it simply says, therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure? Okay, my Lord being old also. And the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child, which am old? Then she says, is anything too hard for God or too hard for the Lord, right? At that time appointed, I will return unto thee. And it's the angel talking to her now, according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. But check this out. She laughed. And then God came and he said unto Abraham about the same thing. Sarah laughed under her breath. She said, look, I'm old. You know that part where it says, after I am waxed old? And she said, I'm old. I'm so old that I don't even want to do nothing. I mean, my skin is like leather. I'm almost dust. I'm so old, right? That's the way I interpret it. That's Sedric 101. I want y'all to know. But then check this out. She says, waxed old shall I have pleasure. Really, God, I'm going to be having sex at this old, decrepit age, right? And then she asked this part. Check this out. Ask her something. She says, my Lord being old also. Look, God, I'm old and wrinkled and feeble. And not only me, heck, he older than I am. You know, so how many of us have ever allowed ourselves to think like that? And we forget that this is God. You see, me personally, I wondered about Sarah, right? I wonder, what was she thinking when she laughed about what God has said? You know what I'm saying? Even after she found out she was pregnant, was she wondering how foolish I was? Was she wondering, wow, I didn't trust God? Or did she kind of kick herself for doubting God? Or did she just rejoice over her doubting God and God proving who he was and God proving what he can do? See, I say all of this, and I want to put this out there today because my personal life has been chaotic. All of our professional lives in this country are chaotic. There are so many things going around, and what I have been struggling with, I will tell you this, I do struggle, that God, are you right here with me? How many of us say that? You know, and most of us, we not always be dependent. Think about this. Think about this. Some of us, we got jobs, but we don't really depend on those jobs. We're not really worried about the banks. We're not worried about the government, right? We know that we can't depend on those things because they're here today, they're gone tomorrow. But I want to say this. The one thing that I have depended on wholly is God. I have depended on God for every little thing. God has blessed me with two of the most wonderful friends in this world. They allow me to occupy their basement, right? Because it's too hard for me to navigate in my house. Man, they make sure I get my medicines on time. They make sure we got food. I had to give up control of the majority of my personal life because I'm in a situation where I just can't do it no matter how hard I try. I just can't do it. So check this out. I will say this. I believe this, and I believe this is what I want to get across to people. Look, because God not only keeps his word, right? He don't just keep his word that he gave to Sarah and Abraham. But check this out. Nothing can stop God from keeping his word. Check this out. Check this out. Y'all remember in Job 42:2? I love the book of Job, but it simply says, I know that thou canst do everything, and that excuse me, and that no thought can be withheld from thee. Nothing can be withheld from God. So today I just want you to acknowledge that we all struggle. I want to acknowledge all the struggles that we face. And you can look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am facing some struggles. I have a bunch of challenges in my life. But check this out. Most importantly, I'm putting my faith, all of my faith, to overcome these issues in God. I'm not trying to put it into the economy. I'm not trying to put it into a cure for coronavirus. I'm not trying to put it into my diet. I'm putting all wholeheartedly. I'm giving up control. The only control I have is I'm going to give this to God. And if you read Romans 5:2-5, it basically says, by whom also we have access by faith into his grace, wherein we stand and rejoice in the hope of glory of God. And it says, and not only so, but we glory in tribulations, also knowing that the tribulation worketh patience, here it is, and patience worketh experience, and experience hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Ghost, which is given unto us. I just want to say this to everybody today, and I apologize. I know I've gone long, but I just want to say this. I want to say this to everybody today. Stop putting your hope and your faith in the hapless things of this world. Nothing in this world is going to help you when we leave this world. You hear what I'm saying? When we leave here and our spirit rises, nothing in this world is going to help us. The only things that's ever going to last are the things that we do for God. So I want to leave everybody with that. Put your faith, put your trust in God. And I just want to say a quick prayer for everybody. God, thank you as we open our show. And keep the doors open for everybody, Lord. You know, we want to trust in something so bad, but our prayer is that everybody today begins to put all trust and all hope in you, the only thing that lasts forever in this world. Thank you. God bless everybody. So here we are again, everybody. Hey, I got Jason and Terry on with us today. Terry, you out there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Man, it took you a long time to respond. I was getting nervous.
I'm sorry.
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on,
sorry.
man?
No, that's
all right. That's all right. Oh, I'm doing well. I want to welcome you back again today on this beautiful day. This is one of them days
I'm
where
glad to be
I
here.
believe God is. Well, that's good. That's good. See, because we got a few things I want to talk about today. Jason, you on with us?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
How you doing today? Y'all got a lot accomplished, right?
Yes, sir. Good day today.
All right. Well, that's good news. Good news. Y'all know today. Welcome, everybody. You know, today is Friday, May 22nd. I was supposed to do this at the top of the show, but I get so excited. I don't even know what I'll be thinking. I just get excited. So Friday, May 22nd, 2020. And did y'all know that May was Mental Health Month?
Mm-hmm.
I just found that out today. I've been missing that all month. I just found that out today. I'm a little slow. But today, you know, because of my own personal struggles, this has really kind of been front and center. And I've been thinking about how we surviving this, how are we navigating this coronavirus? What toll has it taken, or is it taking on our mental health? And basically, what can we do about it? What kind of issues are we seeing in us and our friends and our people? And you know, because I want to help somebody today. You know, I want to help somebody, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying, I deal with people all the time, but people tell me all the time, well, you're just way too strict on yourself, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a perfectionist. I don't believe perfection exists, but how can we help people today? And this whole thing with the pandemic going on, like, what are some of the challenges that you guys have seen or are experiencing yourselves?
Well, I can speak for myself because I have some of the underlying health conditions that go, you know, that pretty much keep me, in certain environments where I can't really be around a whole bunch of people. So I've had to, you know, with diabetes and high blood pressure and all those types of things. And also I've dealt with depression for like the past 6 years, and I've been on medicine. So one of the things that I've had to really regulate is my fear and worry about my own health and the health of those who are close to me, and making sure that they're healthy and making sure, and I kind of have a tendency to kind of overdo and pay attention to everybody else versus taking care of myself. So, that was one of the things that I've been struggling with. And then, then being isolated from people, as a pastor of a church, I'm used to kind of being around, the congregation and the people, and personally hugging and things of this nature, shaking hands and those types of things. And that's been really difficult for me. So if you're talking about stressful, that's been stressful, for me.
Okay. Okay. So, like when you say that's been stressful, is it just the lack of or not being able to do?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it's the lack of and not being able to do. I mean, it's like, but I've had to shift up some things and think outside the box. Okay, well, I can't see this person face to face, but I can see them virtually. So there's been some things that we've had to do so that we can really stay in connection with each other, and that's worked out really well. So that's been something. It's been having to think outside the box and see how we could use technology to be of an assistance and be of an aid to everybody, because I'm probably not the only one that's feeling this way, feeling isolated, feeling a little anxious about my own health and being around a whole bunch of people, and I'm not the only one. So I had to get that in my head too, that you're not the only one. And so let's see how we can get our needs met without being face-to-face personally with each other.
Okay. So you got a way of dealing with this social distancing thing. So, Jason, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think when we talk about mental health, especially during a time like this, I think Terry hit on it toward the end there when he says, realizing, man, it's a hard situation, and the fact that you're going through something a little bit more difficult is not a bad thing. I find myself, struggling because, like Terry, I love my Sundays when I get to go fellowship and congregate with my church family, and not having that, I start to realize I don't go out too much, but I start to realize how much I miss that, and how there were times I started feeling down about this. And, I think, what I had to do is similar to what Terry had to do, to kind of recognize, well, this is my reality, so how do I make the best of it? And just really just figure out, okay, this is happening for a reason. There's a season, and what can I do to get through it? Because and make the best of it. Just try to get past the survival mode and say, how do I thrive in this? And so I think the biggest thing there is to recognize you're not alone in this. Everybody's feeling some type of way. I know teachers saying students are going through depression and stuff like that, adults. And then just, like I said, recognizing, well, this is our reality right now, so how do I make the best of it?
So and I got to ask this because it sounds like this topic we're on right now is about self-care. And like for me, I'm horrible in this particular arena. As both of you guys know, I'm kind of an individual. Like I ain't spend months alone, I don't know why I'm the way I am. I just am. So I have a difficult time understanding, not all, but some of the things you guys are talking about. I get there, but it takes me a long, long time to get to that place. And so it sounds like I know, Terry, you outlined a couple of things that you do, and I'm just going to summarize what we were just talking about. Basically, what I heard from the two of you is you miss socializing. You miss being around people. You miss that family type atmosphere. And so what are some of the methods, and I know you alluded to a few of them, Terry, what are some of those methods that you use to combat that? Because I'm hearing both of you say it can actually depress you. It can actually make you feel really down, and you guys know when you're feeling down and out, when the enemy attacks your mind, you know, man, your routines fall off. You become addicted to certain types of news or whatever. You try to do things, just busy work, and we all know that busy work doesn't always do it. So what are some of your methods of combating this?
Well, one of the things that I learned this from my therapist is that, because I believe it, people, everybody, you can have Jesus and a therapist. They both complement each other, and it's okay. That's one of the things I think that we need, as men, we need to get past. Oh, it's if you have a therapist that something's wrong with you. No, you need somebody to talk to sometimes. But anyway, I learned this from him, is that I have a when I first get up in the morning, I have two different light bulbs. One that I turn on at night, and it's a little bit more mellow kind of a light. But then I have one that I use in the morning, and I turn it on in the morning, and it helps awaken my brain. And one of the first things I do in the morning is throw open the blinds and everything, and I go outside and I take a deep breath on the back deck, and because I really just have got to, get that vitamin D, if you will, and just really thank God for what He's doing, what He's done, waking me up, those types of things. But some of the other things that I've done, like with our church, we've utilized, we do on Wednesday night, we do this thing called Wednesday Night Connect. And we've been doing it for the past 2-3 weeks now, and where we just kind of get together, we do a Zoom meeting, and we just connect with each other, just find out what's going on, how's everybody doing, what's people been doing. And the funny thing about it, we've had some people that haven't been able to make it on Sunday worship have been able to come on there, and they've been on regularly on the Wednesday Night Connect, and that's been really good just to connect with people. We did that with our family last night. We had a Zoom family check-in. Just to see people's faces, see how you're doing, tell us what's going on in your life. Because on Sundays, I'm used to getting with my family every Sunday at my mom's house, my mom and dad's house, and so not to have that for the past few months has been really difficult on me, my mom, everybody. But it's one of those type of things. But you've got to find different ways to be creative, to be able to. You may not have that touch of the individual, but you're able to see them and talk to them, hear their voice, that type of a thing. So that's worked out really well.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's awesome, because now you're visiting family. You just got to do it over video, right?
Right. That's it. It's just using technology.
See, and that's the thing I think with us a lot of times. When we start thinking about taking care of our minds, we don't even realize truly means. And one of the things is, and I hear what you're doing as one of the things is, let's check this out. Let's reduce those stress triggers, the things that trigger stress in our lives. Let's reduce those triggers. Let's do things that offset them so that you never feel that stress, right? Or it keeps it to a very minimal thing. Am I right? So one of the things I want to say is, for us to start holding on and keeping our sanity, we gotta figure this out. Let's reduce the levels of stress in our lives. So that's a beautiful one. I love what you said about everything. How about you, Jason? Are you feeling anything like this? Or go ahead. I was
going to ask a question. Can I ask a question? Not ask a question, but just kind of say something. When you say reduce stress, one of the things that I've been trying to do for the past couple of days is reduce the amount of time of watching the news, reading the news, stuff like that, because it gets stressful. That's very stressful. So reduce what you're hearing and what you're letting into your eye gate and your ear gate. You got those different gates. I think you talked about that some time ago about what you see, hear, smell, taste, all those different. Watch what you let in during this time.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I even got to add see, hear, smell, taste. You got to add in the touch, because you got to be careful who you let pray over you. I'm sorry.
Right.
So I definitely like I had like when I say take care of your mind, I had some different triggers that I wrote down. And Terry, you touched on one of them. It's to limit how much news you're watching. You know what I'm saying? If you're a right wing person, Don't watch a lot of right-wing news. Definitely stay away from that left-leaning news because you're going to go crazy. And if you're a left-wing person, don't watch a lot of your news and don't touch the right because all of a sudden you become so volatile. You want to explode, but also it enhances all of your fears. You know what I'm saying? And then you get exposed to all these different rumors, and you just start going. And I'm gonna tell you, one of my biggest things that I say stay away from is face to the book, Insta to the ground, your Twitter feed. Man, let that stuff go. Go find you a happy video on TikTok, but don't be careful of the videos on TikTok. Let that stuff go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Jason, I'm sorry I didn't mean to step on you, but I guess y'all probably have noticed I'm really focusing on taking care of your mind at the moment. So Jason, when you feel any stresses, what kind of stresses are you feeling? How are you dealing with them?
You know, so most of my stress is just kind of, looking at my circumstances, kind of feeling like there's really nothing I can do, to change a routine. Something as simple as going to the grocery store has changed so dramatically and drastically. It's hard to kind of, even if you don't, I don't watch a lot of news or read a lot of articles online and stuff like that. Because I realized a long time ago that stuff does have a toll on you. But even if you aren't connected in that way, the moment you step out of your house and you go to a place that you've gone thousands of times before, you see a drastic difference, and not just in logistically where they say you have to walk a certain direction, you have to these big X's on the ground, but there's just a feeling of tension when you walk in there and people interacting with each other, and it does cause a little bit of stress, And for me, I just focus on the same thing. Just know this is a season and this too will pass. Not now. I don't fool myself and think, okay, maybe everything's going to get back to normal because it may not be normal. But I know that this anxiety that we have, everything that's going on, at some point it will pass. We will continue to evolve from a medical perspective, being able to identify people a lot more quickly, then be able to address it. They're on a breakthrough of a vaccine. Those types of things give me hope, But in the meanwhile, it's just. I think for me, this has been a great time because it's made me step back and really evaluate not just the things that are important to me, but how God plays into those things. I love going to church, but church is about honoring God, and I realized that church for me was more of a social thing, which is not a bad thing. But then it's like, okay, how do I continue to get the joy I get from church and make it more about honoring God in everything that we're doing? So I love what we're doing at my church. I work with the youth ministry, and before this thing was going on, we didn't have any type of social media presence or very limited social media presence. And, dealing with the youth today, if you ain't got a social media presence, you missing 80% of the connection points with them. So, our pastor said one time, he's like, you know what? This COVID thing has really forced us to do what we should have been doing in the first place. And we're seeing some great turnout with the youth ministry and stuff like that, and I say this to a lot of people. If you look in the midst of all this craziness, man, you see God moving in so many different areas, in your personal life, in other people's lives. You're hearing people about family getting closer, like Terry mentioned, church membership is up. We just did a study where we're seeing more people log in online than we used to see come into the building on Sundays, and that's an exciting thing, and that's an amazing thing. So, there's some joy in all this craziness, and as I get stressed out, I think the key point is to stop focusing on me and my issues and think bigger picture and think, okay, what's good's happening in the world? I know all the craziness, but what good is happening in the world?
Yeah. It's funny, man. Y'all touched on so much, so much because, man, when you get to the point about taking care of your body, we start talking about sleep and all these things, but we have touched on so many things. And Jason, what you went into, just looking at some of the things that I had written down, you kind of jumped a little bit ahead of me, but I love it because you said connecting with others. But I do want to say this. Hey, did y'all realize that all the things we're trying to do to take care of ourselves, the things that you do to keep your mind going, like setting a routine, because you want to kind of get into a specific type of routine, because otherwise you'll go crazy is the way I do it. Terry talked about limiting the types of news. He was saying things about keeping his thoughts in the right place. But check this out. When we do that, and then one of the last things I had written down was spiritual support, your spiritual life, and the support you get from others. We rolled right in to connecting with others. You both of you guys mentioned your church connection. During this time, I believe, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the things I thought about today is during this time, this is a great time to build and strengthen our personal relationships. That includes even in some business relationships. You have personal relationships with these people. How many of us find that a lot of people in business that we talk to today are more empathetic than they were before this COVID-19? How many people have you spoken to on the phone and they're like, how's your family? And you're like, this person's never said a personal thing to you before. It was all business. And how many of us understand it now? I can feel the need for people to have personal contact. Y'all know I've had 16 doctor's appointments since the 28th of March, right? 16. I ain't never seen such empathetic and compassionate doctors before in my life. Okay? I mean, they are like really concerned about you now. They are, because things like this, and I like to think it's God's way. I know a lot of people say I'm crazy, but I think this is God's way of allowing us to, check this, be more connected. We talk about the church and how the church should be on top of all the social issues that we have in this world. Look at this. Now we have an opportunity for the church, for God's people, to take hold of God's people who don't necessarily believe in God, who are not so connected. Doing things for others, man. How good is that, Jason? How good does that make you feel? Doing things for these youth that you are basically ministering to at your church. How good does it make you feel?
I think that's one of the best ways to combat depression and your own sadness. Like I said, if you can just get outside yourself and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go help somebody. I mean, even if it's something as getting on, I know you don't like the social media thing, but posting a nice post that may cheer somebody's day up. I tell you that helping people and serving people for me is the biggest, sword I got against battling depression and getting caught up in my own circumstances and the sadness that comes from that.
Now, Terry, I know this is your area. You got anything to add to that? Go ahead. I want you to add something to that.
Yeah. We like one of the things that we did, like I said, last Wednesday, I was talking to everybody that was on, and I told them, I said, this week, I want you to do one random act of kindness and come back and tell us how it made you feel. So that's what everybody's supposed to do. No, supposed to do it with somebody outside of your house. They got to be really creative on how they're going to be able to do this. And so that was one of the things. So it's because really we're the church. You said it earlier. I think what happens, we got so used to going to a building that God is like, something, screw the building. Because that's the problem, the building. We're stuck between four walls, and that's not where the church is meant to be. You're the church, so be the church. And so now, we have all these different people that are now, you don't go to a building, you've got to put your faith on display now. Not just at work, but you got your neighbors. When your neighbor when you're at the grocery store, that may be greedy,
that person that's reaching over your back, breathing on you.
Over your back, right. So now you got a chance to now it's on display. And so now it's really about us being the church. And that's the way I'm looking at this. This whole thing is not a bad thing. It's like you said, it's a thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a thing, but it's a thing that can be positive and can be used for His glory. And the funny thing about it is, like, I look at, like we were talking about how we're doing our services online. We're not rushing to go back into the building. Thank God. But we have people that have tuned from all over the country to watch our services. And we have people that have said, you know something, if I lived in your city, I'd be going. And we've got it to the point where, you know something, no, we want you to be blessed. You know, and it's not about coming to a building. You're a part of this, of the body of Christ wherever you are. You just happen to like hearing the word that comes from here. And so these, you know, so that's where I'm at this point. Do something, be the church.
See, and that's important because, you know, the thing about being the church, man, I'm telling you, the revelations I'm having even at the moment. How can we have a secular world without the church? How can we have a secular world without God? You know, I'm one of those people. I say this, and I'm going somewhere with this, but I say this. There is a separation between church and state, right? And then I meet other Christians who are a little more radical than I am. Said, no, there's no separation between church and state. And then my question to all of them is, then why do we keep voting in these secular people who don't truly believe in God the way we believe in God into office, right? So they're showing me that there is a separation where he can do the things that a moral guy can't. The point I want to make is, as we continue to strengthen our relationships and build support entities within our relationships, now what are we doing? We're making these great connections because everybody has a need. Everybody has a need for one another. And Jason, you said, hey, Sedric, you might not be into social media, but social media helps. Man, we have these virtual connections, what Pastor Terry was just talking about. Man, you got emails, texts, you got phones, you got, you know, FaceTime and Zoom and all these things. You know, think about this. We are working remotely from home now, and businesses are saying, you know what, like MasterCard. MasterCard has already said, this working from home, this we're gonna make that a part of our new business model. And then, Jason, you talked about doing something for others, right? And Terry, you also talked about supporting family and friends and all this. All of this ties the secular world right on into our Christian community. And we need to look at it that way because, again, God made a promise to Sarah, and Sarah didn't think God was going to fulfill it. She didn't think he could. She laughed about it. So God is opening up the doors of the church to the rest of the world. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit back and giggle and laugh under our breath, or are we going to do the things that Terry and Jason are talking about they are doing right now, and we're going to spread it out into the community? Because, you know, there's no discrimination, man. We don't care what color you are. We don't care how tall you are. Most people talk about people who aren't tall. They call them short, but I don't use that term. You know, I'm just saying that we need to learn to love each other. And what does it do for us? It helps us get through this pandemic. Why? Because we've expanded our family now. We've expanded our circle of friends. And one of the things that I have concern about is those of us trying to, because stress, believe it or not, being stressed out can become a very normal thing. But I have a problem with people not recognizing what's typical and what's not typical in their lives. Like because of the pandemic, COVID-19 has changed some things for us, right? A lot of us, we worry about the crisis itself, but we're in the crisis. But what we try to do is hurry up and push beyond the crisis. And what we do is we put ourselves in a situation where we're pushing ourselves beyond our level of what's the word I'm looking for? We push ourselves beyond our ability to cope with situations. So how do you, either one of you can jump in on this one. How can we help people who are trying so hard to have a normal life or do the typical things that they've been doing, and what they're doing is stressing themselves out because they're trying to go beyond what they can handle. That stress level is well beyond what they can handle. How do we help people like that? How do we help them recognize it? Yes.
First, tell you, friends, it's kind of funny that you say that. It's because, you know, with schools being out, there's been parents that have been at home with their kids because, you know, and kids are usually at school having breakfast, lunch, and parents didn't put that in the budget, especially parents on a fixed income. And one of the things that God allowed our church to be able to do was get connected with Thornton Oil here, as well as Little Caesars Pizza. And because we saw the stress. I saw the stress. You know, you can see, you know, what's going on and things like that. And so what we did, so they give us like 30 or 40 pizzas like on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we take it to the people. We take it to the people and we let them know, hey, this is for you. It's free, you know. And it helps relieve, and it's helped relieve stress.
Wow. So that anxiety that they feel about having a meal 3 days a week is gone. Because now somebody's going to bring that lunch, that dinner, and we're going to get it, and we don't have to worry about trying to pay for this because we don't have the money anyway. Wow. Now that is absolutely awesome because I'm telling you, like again, in my situation, I've been blessed not to have to worry about food. If I need somebody to talk to, I have people to talk to. And for the most part, I like being by myself anyway, so I'm kind of, I'm out here. But you check this out. The things that I really don't do well for myself, I'm horrible at taking this medicine because when I take my medicine, there have been some really cruel incidents, right? Like I have these, I don't want to call them hallucinations, but that's what they are because they're so real. Like I could be eating food that ain't there. People look at me like, what the real? It just happens, ain't nothing I can do about it. It's the medicine, right? So I have people who help me stay on track with my food and with my medicines. Like, man, I have a whole pharmacy of medicines. I hate taking medicine. So my natural reaction is I ain't taking no medicine, whatever. But I have people around me who say, it's medicine time. Like I nicknamed the lady who gave me my medicine, I nicknamed her Dr. Quinn, the medicine woman, from the TV show. That's her nickname. But my thing is, by us taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of our friends, and we need to do that. Right. And there are some people who aren't blessed the way that I'm blessed in this area, where I can focus on just healing, helping my body to heal. Right. And so the mental health issues, I still have them. Don't get it twisted, people, because I really love my freedom, and I push myself, and I push myself very hard, and because I don't want to quit. I don't want to depend on anybody. But my prayer is this pandemic shows us that we can't do it alone. We are not here alone. We need one another.
Yep. It's just like Hezekiah Walker's song. Hezekiah Walker's song. I need you, you need me, we are a part of God's body. Stand with me, agree with me. That's a song that really should ring true during this time. We need each other. And sometimes God has to shut us down to show us how much we really need each other. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that's what he's done. Because when you try to live in a bubble by yourself, I mean, we're seeing this now. I mean, you don't realize the world is interconnected. You and I were talking about this yesterday. Thank you, whatever that was. We're connected, and the world is connected even today. But we have leadership in the White House that is really getting to the point to where he's trying to isolate us. And you can't isolate us because what we do and what happens here it affects other people, other countries, and it's the same is true in life. You can think that you're a loner or that you're by yourself, but understand what you do, and it affects other people. You know what I'm saying? And what you say and how we operate affects other people, and then realize that it's meant for us to be connected with people. That's the way God wanted it to be. He wanted it. If he wanted man to be by himself, he would never have made Eve. You know what I'm saying? Or he would have never have allowed them to bear children. You know what I'm saying? He would have never done any of that. It's meant for us, and that's why. That's why he created us. He wanted us to be in communion with him. So we need, just like we need him, we need each other. That's why it's a cross. The cross, you got the vertical and you got the horizontal. The vertical is to Christ, to God.
Yeah.
And the horizontal is like opening up his arms for our brothers and our sisters. We need each other. Sorry, I didn't mean to kind of go on that, man. But
no, because you're absolutely right. And when we have each other, it makes it easier for me to focus on the positive thoughts. How many of us, when we've been alone and we finally see somebody we love and somebody who respects us, it makes it a little bit harder for us to focus on those negative thoughts. It's like our mind is now busy interacting with our friends and our family, and it makes it a little bit harder just to focus on the negative. Now, I'm not saying it works like that for everybody, but I can tell you this, that when we focus on our positive thoughts, when we choose to focus, right, life gets a little bit easier. You stop dwelling on those horrible things. Like you said in your light, you have a soft light for when you get ready to go to bed. It helps you wind down. And then you have a bright light for when you wake up in the morning. It helps to bring in that sunshine. It helps to get your juices flowing, your energies flowing. And so, different people have different ways. Like, I like to start my day by listening to a song that touches my heart. I won't call out the name of the song, but for right now, I got a new song, and it touches my heart, but it gets me going. And we need each other for reasons such as that, because what we really need, and I think one of the biggest things that we can bring to each other every day, one of the biggest things we can do is we can bring a sense of hope.
Yeah.
We can work together to accept all the changes that are occurring in our lives, right? We can keep all of the quote-unquote problems in perspective. Let me give you one. I lost a job one time, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But I had a buddy of mine who said, you know what, man, it's going to be all right. You hear what I'm saying? How many of us have friends and family in our lives right now as we go through this pandemic, and we can look over each other and we can touch shoulder to shoulder because we're in our own house, we ain't got to have our masks on, and we're looking at each other and we say to each other, it's going to be all right. See, we got to get that it's going to be all right attitude even in this pandemic. And that's the thing. Let us stop being naysayers. Let us show people not only do we talk about God, but God truly lives in us. And people, a lot of times, I say, I'm talking about us as Christians, a lot of times, man, we stunting. Like I always used to hear that. I used to hear that fake it till you make it. What? I ain't never liked that saying. Because that means I got to come in here and put on a false face. I'm going to tell you something. If you broke, if your spirit is broken, go in there and confess that thing to God. Fall down and be broken. It's okay. It's okay. Why? Because God can deal with that. God starts to put the pieces back together for you, and you got your friends and family there that help you. Right? There are always exceptions. Your cousin Johnny, he might not be one of the ones you want to hang out with. Right? But everybody else wants to help you, and it's so important for us to do this. Another thing, I don't know if we even talked about it, but another thing that because we have a moral compass, we can start to help other people's, right? Check this out. When you got God and you truly believe in God, Abraham believed wholeheartedly in what God had to say, right? Sarah, she was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to have a baby. But Abraham believed what he was told, right? And what did that allow him to do is to draw strength from his belief system because, look, he didn't know when those angels were coming back. What he did know is that since God said it, he believed it. So his belief system allowed him to take control and to provide him with comfort during his troubled times. How many of us lean on God during our troubled times? How many of us are leaning on God right now? Man, I'm saying, so that's exciting to me. And I hate that we have to go through this pandemic. But as we go through this pandemic, we need to be sources of strength for one another. You notice I didn't say we need to be strong for one another. I need to, Terry, I'm going to hold this down for you. I'm going to be your strength. I'm going to be your rock. No. We need to be sources of strength. What does that mean? Terry, when you touch me, that thing about God that's in me ought to be flowing. The overflow ought to be flowing into you, right? And how does that overflow get from me to you? During the time of the pandemic, we FaceTiming each other. I got a good, kind word, an honest word for you, a true word for you, and you do the same for me, and the same for Jason. And so we need to make these connections, and we need to make them true. And the way we make a connection with somebody else true, right, God will strengthen the relationship. In other words, God needs to be the glue that binds. You hear what I'm saying? And we need to get out there, and we need to do it like we mean it, and we need to recognize that, you know what, we are living in an atypical world right now, but we can, if we can do this pandemic, and we can come out of it better than when we went into it. And I think that's so important for us. We have to really focus on this, because right now the enemy is attacking the one place where he can attack right now, and it'd be a long-lasting, there will be long-lasting damage, and that's our minds. How many of us have seen the protesters on TV walking around with freaking loaded weapons, threatening threatening government officials, right? Ain't nobody going to jail. Y'all know if that was Black Lives Matter, it'd be dead lives don't matter, right? Y'all know they would change the name of it. I'm not getting into racism and color and all that. I'm just saying, if it was Black Lives Matter, it'd be a lot more dead folk out here. But people are doing this. But I will say that what we need to do is the calmer heads will prevail. And that's because when we go into these fights, we go in with God, and we're not trying to convince people that God exists or any of that. We're just spreading the gospel. But here it is, the thing that most people will not deny. Once you get their attention, once they realize they need it, is God's love. So we need to approach them and talk to them with the love of Christ. And we need to share that with them. So I'm sorry, everybody. I know we're about to close out, but I do want to say that there's so many things that are going on, and if somebody's having a problem, there are definitely, you can look them up online. There are organizations. I don't have the number with me at this point, but there's a national organization on mental health. And, look up the number. If you're struggling, you can't find anybody to help you out. Nobody's in your corner right now. Maybe you just don't know a lot of people. Please call somebody, because I'm telling you that what's going on right now is temporary. I know that God has a plan for us. I can't tell you exactly, other than he has a plan to prosper us. I'm going to go to Jeremiah, and not to harm us, but get some help, get some friends. I mean, Terry and Jason, these are two guys who just love to talk to people, and I know there's somebody in your communities. Before we close out, gentlemen, you got anything else you'd like to add, or just some pearls of wisdom for anybody who may listen to this podcast?
No, I think we hit on it, and I think, as we deal with other people, is, feed off their positivity and feed them back with your positivity, because I think you'll be surprised what a smile and a wave can do for somebody, and how it can just change demeanors. And so just be cognizant of that, and sometimes, just find something to smile about and give that smile to somebody.
Wow. Terry, you got anything you want to
say? Jason got it. Ditto. Good job.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Wow,
Ditto, Jason.
I tell you what, I've been reading too many scriptures today, but, there's a scripture I read. It basically says, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And I plan to be doing that day in, day out for myself and for those people around me, for the loved ones, because I'm telling y'all, I believe that the stay-at-home orders have and the social distancing have pulled the scabs off of some I shouldn't say craziness, man, but they've pulled the scabs off some things. And I know the enemies hate me, because he knows, just like when he thought, kill Jesus, he died on the cross, we crucified him. And if he knew what was coming, he wouldn't have done it. You know what I'm saying? Because what happened?
Right.
Hey, man. And so what's happening right now? He's just allowing God. Man, God doesn't force himself on us, but he's allowing God to allow us as disciples to touch one another and touch those who are not in tune with us. And everybody, it's like we're all starting to the same bat channel at the same bat time. You know what I'm saying? So God is coming. And I want to encourage somebody there and just let you know it is not over. God is coming, and God has a plan for all of us, and God wants all of us to excel and to grow through this. This is not something that's meant to kill all of us. It is meant to get our attention, I believe. So as we close out, I want to say this, and I just want everybody to know that God has not given us the spirit of fear, timidity, but the power of love and discipline. And y'all got to remember that. I want y'all to take that with you every day. 2 Timothy 1:7, I believe that is off the top of my head. But hey, y'all know how we say it this time. We got to close out. Again, Friday, May 22nd, 2020 has been a beautiful day. And I want to say thank you to everybody who was on today and anybody who listens to our podcast. This is Minister Sedric, and this is Relentless Pursuit. And you know what we say, find it, embrace it, and chase it. And that is your relentless pursuit. So God bless you, and we will talk to you again on next Friday. Please tune in. Sister Kim.
Once again, I'm standing here ashamed. My sinful ways have caused you so much pain. Doing things you told me not to do. Lord, I need a healing touch from you. So I asked the Lord if He would change my heart. A touch from you would provide a brand new start. Change my heart and my spirit be renewed. Oh yeah. Lord, I need a healing touch from you. Feels like I'm so deep in sin. There's no mercy. And I ask myself the question. Can he really, really love? Can he love me? Hold me in my integrity. Change my heart, oh Lord, this is my say it again. Lord, change my heart. I know that you can. Lord, change my heart. But I wonder if you will.
yeah. Lord, change my heart. I've messed up for so long. Lord, change my heart. And so many times I've been wrong. Lord, change my heart. I wonder if there's any more mercy. Lord, change my heart. I wonder if there's any more grace. Lord, change my heart. I wonder if there's any more patience. Lord, change my heart. As I lay before your face, Lord.